Hello, it's the 1st of April 2020, day 16 of my self-isolation. 1st of April, should be doing April Fool's jokes, but don't think there's any going on at the moment, funnily enough. So what have I been doing today? Well, first of all, my friend Jill Muir challenged me to do the Facebook 10 albums that influenced your taste in music, something like that thing. And so I went in for that. My first entry being that one. You may recognise it. First album I ever bought, and I reckon I was about 13. It's the first time I could afford to buy an album. I mean, I liked the Beatles beforehand, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that was the first time I could actually buy an album. So I've got to come up with a bunch more, and each day I'm supposed to nominate someone else to do the same challenge. So I've nominated Jake Arnott. Why not? Good old Jakey. I think it'll give us a different spin on things. What else have I done? Well, just in case you don't know me, screen printing, this sort of thing. Thought it was about time I came up with another design, and it's going to be a bit of a problem because I'm not going to actually be able to print them, because the print studio where I'm a member is closed for the same reason everywhere else is closed. But I can do the designs beforehand. Each colour needs a separate screen, it needs to be laid down individually. So I've got to come up with a bunch of different designs which will translate into so many different screens and produce another image. So, something to look forward to, really. It's a while since I've done it. I've also, I watched a programme on iPlayer called The Flu That Killed 50 Million. It's a BBC programme from 2018, and it talks about the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. And it's blooming interesting, because although this programme was only made in 2018, unfortunately it seemed to recognise that anything could happen in the next 2 years, they said. And guess what? The Spanish flu is a bit of a misnomer, because apparently the nations that had been fighting in the First World War suppressed the news of the flu pandemic for fear of affecting morale after the 4¼ years of World War. But it was freely reported in Spain, which was neutral, and so people thought Spain's been particularly hard hit because they kept reporting on it, and it became known as the Spanish flu. So I just bear that in mind when Donald Trump bangs on about the Chinese disease. Ask yourself, where did the Spanish flu start? Because the answer is Kansas. And it happened when a form of flu that exists with wild waterfowl got transmitted to farm fowl, ducks or chickens or something, and then that got transmitted to their human handlers, if you like, and then the handlers went into the army, spread like wildfire through the army, but they didn't stop sending the ships over to Europe, and it just spread. Of course, these days we can travel around a lot faster than they did in those days on ships. So ours spread much quicker. Joy. Okay, what I should have mentioned on the historical record front a day or two ago is that Hungary, which is part of the EU, has passed a law to say that the country can be governed by presidential decree. The president being Viktor Orban, who has seemed to be a bit of a not fruitcake, but a little bit right wing. So that's great, isn't it? And then the other thing is, there's been 563 more deaths in the UK, taking us up to 2,352. They had 727 deaths in Italy, giving them a total of 13,155, and there are over 2,000 dead in New York State alone. It's not going well. Anyway, on that cheery note, I'm going to say ta-ta, bye for now.